Yeah, we're doing this program on Tony Luisi, um,
Hmm.
and I was wondering if you have any memories about his recordings for NFL films.
Oh yeah, I do actually. Tony was hired to write a song for a film that we were doing. It was for actually basketball. It's called 10 Feet in the Air, and he wrote the song and he had the music produced in New York City because it was a fairly large group. And then we had asked Lou Rawls to sing the song. It was going to be the theme, the opening theme for the movie. And so uh, Lou Rawls was appearing in Chicago, pardon me. And so Tony and I flew to Chicago, and it was actually the first time I had met Lou. Consequently, after that, it's not that we were great friends or anything, but I saw him a number of times after that. But the interesting thing about this was that when Lou showed up at the recording studio, which was about 11 o'clock in the morning, um, he went into the studio and he had already had the lyrics, and so he listened. We played back the music tracks that he was going to sing to, and it was just terrible, just terrible. I was looking at Tony. Tony was looking at me, and he said, "Oh my God, this is not good at all." At any rate, Lou came out of the studio area into the control room and said, "Well, I'm up, but my voice isn't up, and probably won't be for another half hour to an hour, and I need to take some tea and go through all this." And Tony and I are, "Oh my God, this is going to be awful. This is terrible." Anyway, after Lou had his tea and we chatted for a few minutes, he went back into the studio and just nailed it. Tony and I said, "Oh my God, how can you go from what we first heard to the way he did it?" Actually, did it one session, in just one session, but we recorded it the second time. But he was just phenomenal. And uh, anyway, he said, "Why don't you this afternoon? When are you leaving?" I said, "Well, we're going tomorrow morning. We're going to be heading back to Philadelphia area." He said, "Well, I'm appearing at, I can't remember, it was a jazz club. I don't remember what club it was, but he said, 'Come on down and you'll for one of my sessions there.'" So we went down there, and he came over to the table. We were sitting and chatting, and he said, "Order some food or something." "Oh, okay, fine." So we ordered, and then he went on stage, and he did his set and waved to us, and we didn't never saw him again. I thought he was paying for our dinner, but he wasn't. At any rate, he Lou was appearing at I think it was a Latin casino in New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. And he called, and he said he was going to be in town. So I said, "Well, I just finished, putting it into the film. Why don't you come by and you can see how it worked, with the footage." So he came in, and we previewed the film for me. Loved it. It just worked really well, and Tony did a great job with the lyrics and the underlying music, and Lou was really happy. And so he said, I'm going to be over at the Latin Casino, just the other side of the river from Philadelphia. Why don't you come down? So I said, oh, well, yeah, that would be very nice. And it was Latin Casino was a big venue. And so we went, and we had some drinks, and, Lou joined us at the table, but we didn't order food this time. So, because we were stung once, with that, and so, but he didn't pay for our drinks either. So that was Lou Rawls. At any rate, that is something I'll never forget, especially the recording session, because it was like night and day from the time he just was rehearsing to the time he actually sang the song. Was just so startling. The change was so startling. But anyway, that's my story of Lou Rawls and Tony Luisi. And Tony, I've known Tony for quite a while before we did the thing with Lou Rawls. And he was the first guy I knew that had a Moog. I don't know if you know what that is.
Sure.
Moog, right?
Yeah.
He had that early on. He must have had like the second or third um, version of that. And I went over to his studio, and he auditioned it for me. Played some things on it. It was really wild. But Tony did a good chunk of music for NFL films, but it was never it was never close to what we would normally use in the football, in our weekly football shows that we did. Just didn't have we recorded a lot of the music that we used on a weekly basis. Um, was recorded in Germany by Sam Spence, and every year we would send them a list of the types of music we were looking for, and after the second or third year, we didn't have to tell him anything. He just produced the music, and although they were for specials like Up She Rises, and some of those standard chanties where he produced for us, and that always worked really well in our films. But that was only used in highlight films and specials.